Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. The National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, has assured that not a single centavo from the national budget will go to the Maharlika Investment Fund. Socio-Economic Planning Chief Arsenio Balisacan insisted that only idle funds will be used to finance the MIF. He also guaranteed that the investment fund will not sink the Philippines further into debt. Balisacan added that the Maharlika Fund can be used to invest in any of the 194 infrastructure projects that the NEDA had identified earlier this year. At the moment, the government is focused on getting the right people to manage the MIF so that funding can start next year.
So you have to make quite a diligent search for the officers of the corporation who will be able to independently make decisions on those projects. We'll have to meet to define, develop our guidelines. We need to get this economy going because otherwise may iwanan pa tayo.
In other news, the Supreme Court has upheld the dismissal of the billion-peso ill-gotten wealth cases of the Marcoses and their cronies. The High Court ruled that there is no sufficient evidence that former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and his wife Imelda, along with several cronies, amassed 1.05 billion pesos of dirty money. Recall that in 2019, the Sandigan Bayan junked the case for the same reason. Among the alleged associates in the case are Rustant's owner Bienvenido Tantoco Jr. and Dominador Santiago. The country's high tribunal noted that while the petitioner had submitted lots of evidence, many were excluded for violating the best evidence rule. The petition was originally filed by the Presidential Commission on Good Government, or PCGG, in 1987. Meantime, one group has decried the Supreme Court decision, insisting that the Marcoses are guilty of plunder.
Hindi lang usapin ito ng compensation para sa mga victims usapin ito ng accountability, justice, tsaka ending impunity. Kasi usapin ito ng pagbabalik ng plundered na wealth ng mga Marcoses, di ba? Noong martial law, sunod-sunod na ba yan naiakyat sa Supreme Court at talagang hindi natin mababawi ang nakaw na yaman ng bansa dahil ang presidente ngayon ay anak ng diktador.
Moving on to another story now, Lieutenant General Romeo Browner Jr. will be the next Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Browner is replacing General Andres Centino, who will soon serve as a presidential advisor on the West Philippine Sea. Former PNP Chief and now Senator Bato de la Rosa said that Browner is an excellent choice for the post. De la Rosa cited Browner's performance in the academy, noting that the officer comes from a family of generational heroes. For his part, former Senator Ping Lacson, who likewise served as PNP Chief, Browner's appointment is long overdue. And the Chief of Staff and Commander of the AFP Western Command likewise congratulated Browner. Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos said that Westcom will be able to counter internal security threats under Browner's leadership. Carlos added that his team is ready for Browner's marching orders when it comes to the West Philippine Sea. And Justice Secretary Boying Remulla has an advice to Filipino personalities that are subjects of the International Criminal Court's drug war investigation. Remulla warned former President Rodrigo Duterte against going to countries where the ICC exercises undue influence. Same reminder goes to Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, who is also a target of the same investigation. The ICC is probing the bloody drug war that started in 2016 when Duterte was still the president and De La Rosa, the police chief.
Huwag kayo pupunta sa lugar na maaring ang ICC, makialam. Kasi dito, hindi sila pwede makialam talaga rito. Sa ibang bansa, kung tingin natin ay may pagkaalangan, di mag-usap muna kami kung aalis sila, kung pupunta sila sa ibang bansa na maaring magkaroon ng problema. Kasi ano yan they're citizens of the Republic who also need our protection. So we have to tell them.
We're pausing for a quick break, but One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here. The State Weather Bureau last spotted the LPA some 715 kilometers east of Surigao City. This could intensify into a tropical depression in the next 28 to 48 hours and will be named Egay. But for now, the LPA is bringing rains to the Visayas, Romblon, Sorsogon, Masbate, and Zamboanga del Norte. Same goes for Misamis provinces, Camiguin, Agusan del Norte, Surigao del Norte, and the Dinagat Islands. The LPA's trough and localized thunderstorms will also be triggering rains over the rest of the Philippines.
Sa ngayon ay mataas pa rin yung uncertainty sa magiging track nitong low pressure area na ito. Ngunit sa buwan ng Hulyo or sa buwan ng July, inaasahan natin na yung mga bagyo or yung mga sama ng panahon na pumapasok sa ating Philippine Area of Responsibility, usually nagla-landfall po ito sa may northern or central Luzon, and may chance rin po na mag-recurve papunta sa may Japan area bago pa tumama sa ating kalupaan.
PHIVOLCS is warning residents near the Mayon volcano to prepare for possible Lahar flows. Resident volcanologist Paul Alanis said that Lahar or mud flows could happen due to prolonged rains. Back in 2006, a Lahar flow incident killed around 1,300 people amid the onslaught of Typhoon Reming. The Mayon volcano is still under alert level 3 as it continues to show signs of high unrest. Over 300 earthquakes, 137 rockfall events, and 30 ashing events were recorded on Wednesday.
dito po sa bandang southern portion ng Mayon volcano, particular dito sa south and southeast side. Ito yung mga bayan, yung mga nakatapat sa dito yung bayan ng Daraga, Legazpi City at Santo Domingo. So yan yung mga vulnerable na areas kung magkakaroon man ng lahar.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Looks like there's nothing stopping the 3-day transport strike by Manibela, which is scheduled to begin on Monday, July 24. That's despite the Transportation Department's statement that 95% of PUV drivers will not be taking part in the strike. Manibela had earlier accused the DOTR of ignoring their concerns about the PUV modernization program. Manibela has also apologized to President Bongbong Marcos for the date of the strike, which coincides on the day of his second State of the Nation address. Former Press Secretary of President Bongbong Marcos has denied writing a pleading with grossly abusive language. The Supreme Court recently suspended attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles from practicing law for 6 months for using abusive words when she filed a plea on behalf of a client. Angeles has vowed to exhaust all legal remedies to fight her suspension. And millions are suffering from scorching heat across Asia, Europe, and the United States. There is a spike in the number of heat wave alerts issued to the public, which jumped to 50% this year. Authorities have also noted that the duration of the dry spells are getting longer, which is seen to impact global economies. Experts are blaming climate change, which is driven by the burning of fossil fuels, for the heat waves. One News Now will be back at 3:15 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.